Then both programmatic access and AWS access, custom password. And then I just disabled this.
Okay.
Create a new password in next signing. Then go to permissions. So here I have added one directly I attached a policy.
Okay.
Next tag, and then some name, value. I'm not clear with what is the necessity of these two.
Basically,
I'm
yeah.
ask that question.
Yeah. So AWS, you can monitor or you can keep a separate section of resources using this tag. You can search services via tag. So tag plays a very important role when it comes to maintaining your organization account or you're maintaining other organization account. For example, in the same account, if you are having a production account, a production database or production test database and DevOps database, let's say. So you can differentiate all these databases or all these three resources using tags. So so what happens in S3? Let's say example of S3, there are hundreds of buckets. When you go for the production, there are hundreds of buckets. Now to sort all this bucket and pick a correct bucket, you can use tagging system. In the AWS professional
Okay.
exam,
Uh-huh.
there is a special question is asked on the resource tagging. So there is an option in AWS where you can sort AWS resources based on tag. So in a same AWS account, if you have three production accounts.
Lalit, your voice is breaking.
Hello, can you hear me?
Your voice is breaking.
Hello, now? Is it fine now?
Better.
Just a minute.
Better.
Okay. So basically, what happens if in a single account, if you have three test accounts, like you have production running, you have a test running, so you can sort all these different resources based on tags. So it gives us an easier way
Okay.
to sort the resources. That's it. So that's why we use tagging
Maybe
system.
Yeah, I understood the concept, but maybe some practical way we may be able to get some more
Sure. We
details.
will see that.
Yeah. So then create user, it completes the create user access, and we can just download this file.
Yes. Always remember that this file will be only available right now. You won't get it the second time. But you can
Yeah.
do one thing, that you can inactivate this script and then reactivate another credential.
Okay. And then after that, we have to go to groups, and then I just created a group here, and similarly for group also two policies attached. These two policies were discussed yesterday, and yeah, I have not created any role as such.
Okay.
This after that, okay. I assigned in the manage groups. I have taken it, and then I added a user to it. Add user. This user. Added. Okay. And these permissions. Yeah. So this is what I have done, and I'm about to do this policy. I'm here at this place.
Okay.
One lowercase, one uppercase, one number. Require at least one character. And number of characters is 6, and yeah, this is what I have.
Okay.
That's it.
Good. So
this is what I just did.
Okay. Fair enough. So Shivpal, can you hear us now? Shivpal, you there? Okay, I think he has some issue. So now what I will do, I will share with my screen with you, and we will do certain practicals.
Okay.
Okay.
Sure.
So I'm sharing my screen.
Okay. Do I need to unshare, or it will automatically?
It will automatically.
Okay. Great. Right.
Yeah. Can you see my screen?
Mm,
Maybe
okay.
it
I
will take a
think,
minute.
yeah.
Yeah. So these are the 5 tasks that you have to perform today.
Okay.
So if you can just copy this thing or make a screenshot of it, then it will be good for you, so that you can share your screen and I can help you with it. Can you make a
Mm,
screenshot of it?
okay. Okay. Let me. Okay. All right. I did it.
You did it? Okay. Again, I will make you presenter and you can
Mm,
perform as Murthy and quotation is completely new and Shipal can't hear us. So you do today's practical. So I
sure.
sent you the
Okay.
request.
Okay. You can see my screen.
Wait. Yeah.
Okay. Oh my God. Okay. 1 second. Share this screen. And, mm, okay. Now you can see these two, right?
Yeah.
Okay. First one, create for users and assign following permissions. Note that any changes in single policy must affect all users. Okay. So,
Yeah, Shipal, we can hear you now, but your voice is very faint.
Okay, let me try with my mic first.
Yeah.
Able to hear me now?
Sorry, pardon?
Hello?
Hello, yeah.
Yeah, able to hear?
Yeah, yeah. Fine now.
Okay.
So, yesterday we have
I don't know
performed a
what's.
practical that we have created a user, we have set up our AWS account. How that is first step of creating AWS account, then setting up an AWS account. So, I hope that you have also done the same.
Yeah, I created the users, I created the groups, and created some policies. Not the inbuilt policy, but taken the policies which have already been created in
Okay.
AWS. But there were certain doubts, so
Yeah, yeah.
uh,
We will say now.
you
So
want me to ask
basically,
right away?
yeah. So basically, I have shared a list of tasks that currently Praveen is doing. So Praveen, can you share it once again? Those list of tasks.
okay. This is the one.
Uh,
Can you
so
see it?
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, so these are the 5 tasks that he is performing today. So first is create 5 user and assign following permission. Note that any change in single policy must affect all user. So he is performing that. So go ahead, Praveen.
Okay.
Yeah. Yes. So, all right. So these are the 5 different users I created. Let me name it as so S3
I think
and
I'm able to see your notepad only, not the screen.
now.
No, it's only snipping tool.
I did. I'm sharing it again.
Yeah, I can see
Now
browser.
see.
Yeah, now I am able to see. Yeah.
Okay, maybe you got.
Yeah,
So first
latency.
one is S3 user. Second one is EC2. So okay. So now I have a question. Look, do you all the permissions are given for all 5 users, right? It's not one user, one permission, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's a group permission.
Yeah.
So here what
So
is question?
okay.
Create a 5 user and assign following permission. Note that any change in single policy must affect all the
Yes.
user. So we have to apply all this permission at a group level, not at the user level.
Okay. Right.
Right.
So now just go to this next permission, and then attach policy S3.
No.
Maybe this one is the first one. Correct?
No, actually. So here what I
S3
have
full
mentioned
access.
that any change in a single policy should affect to all these people. So if you do
So
like
you
this,
need to add users to the group basically.
yeah, you need to add.
Okay,
This.
I think this is one. Okay, I have to go back.
No,
I need to remove
just
it
click
and
on the
then go
first
back.
option. No, click on the first option. Yeah, add user to group.
Okay.
Now create a new group. Name a group.
Group IAM task 1.
And now
Okay.
here attach policies.
And then here is the policy behind.
Yes.
Okay. And then EC2 read access. EC2. My goodness. EC2 read only access. And then RDS full access. RDS full. And then cloud formation full access. Formation. I think it is cloud.
Formation. Cloud. No, the first one it is AWS Cloud Formation Read Only Access.
All right.
Then
Okay.
create a group.
Okay. Okay.
And
then it should go to
next.
Users. Review. Okay, group is IAM task 1, manage policy. Okay.
Yes.
And these are the 5 users. Okay.
Create users.
So let's download it. Save. And then close.
Yes. So here now 5 users are created, and if you click on any of this user, you will not find any of the permission assigned to it. So you can see here there is no permission, but the permission are attached in the group level. That is RDS full access, S3 full access. So now any changes you made to the group, it will affect to all the users.
Okay. Yeah.
So this is our first task.
So we have all 4.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Create a role that allows EC2 to have full access to S3. Okay. Role. Create. Okay. And then EC2. Next to permissions. In this you have S3 full. Next tags. 2 EC2 underscore S3. Next EC2 underscore S3 role. Okay.
Yes.
All right. This is my role.
Yeah. So now our role is created. Now to test our connection, we will see first EC2, and then we will see how whether this role works or not. So today we will see EC2, then we will test this out. So this is our task 2.
Okay.
Now.
Okay. Then create a user John and create a policy with following permission: S3. List all buckets, read only access to EC2, attach the policy to John user. Okay, user, add user. Okay, this and this. Okay. It is asking directly the group.
Yes.
Next, it is when yeah. So we need to create a group, or
Just scroll up.
directly we can go with the tags.
Just scroll up little bit.
Oh, okay. So you have directly the policy here.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes, 3 full.
No,
This
now
is
you
one.
should check here.
And,
No. Please check again. There is only S3 list
yes.
only access.
S3.
List only. So you don't have
This one, read only access.
no. S3 read only is different than S3 list. So what you have to do here, you have to first create a policy.
I think you need to create a policy.
Yeah. So just cancel this.
Yeah, and then attach it.
Yeah. Click on create policy. Now here choose a service.
Okay.
Select S3. Yes. Now actions. Now here there is an option to list only. So list, if you just expand the list option, you have 3 options again. Just expand the list. Yeah.
Okay.
So from here there are 3 other options: head bucket, list all my buckets, and list bucket. So difference between list all my buckets and list bucket is list all my bucket will list all the buckets in your AWS account, whereas list bucket will show the content inside the bucket. If you just click on that question mark after that word, you will get it. What exactly
No,
this is?
list all my buckets question mark.
You want me to click here?
Second one. Yeah. Return sum of all of the objects in a bucket. So it represents the object, and the list all my bucket will list you all the buckets in your account. So if you see what in our task, we have the second only option. S3 list all buckets. Correct. So you have to
uncheck.
Yes. Now scroll down. Now we have one more policy, that is EC2, right? So click on add additional permission. Choose EC2. So if you have seen in the previous policy, we have attached multiple policies, right? We have separate EC2 policy, we have separate S3 policy, but this policy will contain a combination of EC2 and S3. So now click on EC2.
Okay. Yeah.
Now select the action, the read only.
And read only access.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Perfect. Now click next.
Directly read only access. So all of this is selected.
Yeah. Now scroll down a little bit. Yeah. Review policy.
Yes.
So what does this resources field signify over here?
Yeah.
I remember that you explained you explained something about ARN yesterday, but I didn't get that clearly.
So basically resources, like if you want to pick a particular instance or particular S3 bucket, then you can mention here. So for example, you are creating a policy for a user that should only allow to have a single bucket in the S3. There is a bucket called ABC, okay, and you want this user to have a full access of that particular bucket. Then only you can then you should attach that name of the resource there. So if you just take a previous, go back once again, click on previous.
Okay. Yeah.
So just scroll up. Okay. Now click on resources. Go to EC2 section. You don't have any S3 buckets. So click on expand the resource
Here
section.
is the resources.
Yes. Now here
Mhm.
you can specify all the resources, or if you want to specify a particular resource. For example, you are running, you have 4 instances running, and out of these 4 instances, you want this particular user to have access to that particular instance only. Then you can specify here. Now, if you click on add URL, just click on add URL.
Mhm.
Now here you
Okay.
can paste in the specify ARN for instance. Now here you can paste actually the ARN of that instance. So it will then only fix to that resources. Click on cancel.
Okay.
So there are two options, either select all resources or specify. So by default there will be all resources. Yeah, cancel
Okay.
this and
Okay.
select all resource,
Okay.
which will by default applicable to all the instances inside the EC2. Review policy. Now you get that, Shipal?
Yeah, I'm clear. Yeah.
Okay. So custom policy, great.
EC2. Okay. I just add the same here.
Yeah, okay. Create policy.
That's it, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Now go back to your first tab.
First tab, the
No,
dashboard.
the first tab of your Chrome browser. IAM Management Console. Yes.
Okay. Oh, yeah.
Now if you just refresh this, next to the create policy there is a refresh button.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and now
Okay.
search the policy that you have created. Custom. You will see here, right?
Yeah.
This
is
is
what
customer
it is.
managed policy.
Yeah.
Next. This is basically tags are completely optional. You can give it if you want to sort the resources based on your tags, then you can use these tags. Otherwise, it is optional. You can
Okay.
click on next and create user.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
So in this way, you can create your own custom managed policy and attach to a user.
Okay. Okay. All right. Third one is done, right?
Yes. So fourth one, create a user and copy the existing policy from the above user John. So the policy that we have just created, we have to copy while creating a new user.
All right. Okay.
No. Select copy permission from existing user.
Oh, okay. Okay.
We have to copy permission. And
All
now
right.
select John.
Yes, I selected.
Yeah.
Okay.
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 Close.
Yes. Then design a password policy based on the following. Okay. Okay. So here itself we should do different users you have to do.
No, this will be applicable to all the users. This is
One
account setting. So
require
if you see at the
uppercase,
left pane,
lowercase.
if you see at the left
I
pane, there
think
is an option account setting. So this applicable to all the users in the account. We can't do for a particular user here.
Okay.
This is at the account level.
Hmm.
Yeah, Shupal.
And I think the password policy is not for the user. I think the password policy is not for the user base. It's for the account base, right?
No, it's for the both people. So whenever a user will create a password, it will check, it will validate
So
using these conditions.
yeah, but that's okay. But like, if we want to, change the password policy, so will that be done at a account level, or it can be done at a user level as well?
No, that will be at account level. User cannot edit this.
Yeah, right.
Okay. This is what it is, right?
Right.
8, one uppercase, one low, one number, and enable 30 days.
Okay, great.
Okay. Yeah.
And I think by default it doesn't check any of these except the user should be able to change the password, right?
Yes.
This one is the only connected one. This is the only default one.
Yes.
Yeah.
Allow user to change their own password.
Right. Because yesterday I did that and I see that.
Yeah. So today you perform all these tasks once again, Shivpal. And if you have any questions,
Yeah, sure,
then
I will.
do let me know. And
Okay, I have a couple of questions.
yeah. That's what I was about to ask
Okay, so I have a question on this security key and access key, right? So whenever we are creating a user, it says that we select it on two bases, via console and via programmatic
access.
feature.
Yeah.
So I think I'm not able to do a practical on this. That how is it like applicable only once we create a EC2 and then only check it out?
No.
How the secure key and access key will work together?
No. You can test with any application, any services. So basically, this access key and security key works on the AWS CLI command line interface. So we have to configure our terminal, that is command prompt, and then we can interact with our account. So whatever the resources we are creating. So whatever the resources we are creating.
Can you show me like?
Yeah, we will go through that.
Okay.
So when we create a EC2 machine, SC buckets, at that time we will see how to access it via CLI.
Okay, sure. And secondly, I was trying to check on that the providers. So I didn't get that particular field about the identity providers mentioned in this left hand side.
The meeting has paused.
So who paused it? I didn't pause it. Yeah.
Okay.
I just paused the screen sharing.
So
okay.
What we are talking about? Identity provider.
I was asking. Yeah, I didn't get that. What exactly? Can you click on that identity providers and there are two options within that. One is your SML and other one is your OpenID something. Left hand side identity providers.
So basically,
above the account settings.
That is for federating user. So if you have already a database, if you have already a database of user of your organization, like big companies, MNC companies have their own login IDs and password to their account. So if you want to federate those accounts, then it is for those purpose. Like if you have a custom Active Directory on your organization and if you want to import those users to your AWS account, then for such purposes the identity providers is used.
So is it like you are talking about like the LDAP users Active Directory ones?
Sorry?
Is it like the Active Directory access, like
yes,
users of any organization?
Yeah.
Okay. So what exactly will it what exactly it will do? It will allow the on-premise users to
have access to
the
AWS
cloud.
account.
Okay.
With the same credentials, they can be able to log into AWS account.
But I think for that, don't we need to configure the single sign-on and other stuff? I may be
We have to perform that. We have to basically the SAML will have all the configuration, and you have to upload that file.
Okay.
So basically, it's very advanced level. Basically, any organization does not allow all the people from your Active Directory to have access to AWS. They are if there are 1,000 people in your organization, then your organization will allow only 10 to 20 or 100 people to work on AWS. So basically, they always create a user for them. But you have an option. You should know that there is an option to import your Active Directory to AWS directly. So anything else?
Okay, fine. And do we need to really go into depth for this exam certification, or is it like on the top of like whatever you mention and whatever I know? It's so pretty much.
So whatever this task that I have given, that is basically will be very important from exam point of view, and from even from the interview, and it's very important. IAM is very important service from security perspective. So apart from that, like identity providers, then password policy, these are completely optional that you should know this. Like you have this kind of option.
Okay. And my last question, before you proceed, what about KMS over here?
KMS is a key management service. So for the encryption and decryption of your, if you want to encrypt your EC2 machine, or if you want to encrypt your data volumes, then you can use this encryption keys. So we will see that in EC2 S3 while we encrypt our data.
Sure. Okay, thanks a lot, Lalit. Please proceed. Yeah.
So Praveen, I am just revoking your this presentation access.
Go ahead.
Yeah. So can you see my screen?
Yeah. No, not yet.
Okay, it will take a minute.
I completely okay. Now it is coming up.
Yeah, it's ready now.
I still did not see it.
Okay,
it is showing as Lalit screen, but no browser or nothing you're sharing.
I can see kind of a scenery, not scenery. I would say water and your desktop basically. Yep.
Now what you can see?
It is showing the. Now it is showing the task which we perform now.
Okay, it will take us a little more time. Can you see now?
Yeah, part of the screen is showing your okay. Now it is coming. Manage permissions with groups.
Yeah. Okay. So these are the few IAM best practices that we have left yesterday to discuss. So these are very important IAM best practices. So in exam there are certain questions asked on the best practices. So what are the IAM best practices? So first is create individual user. So you should not share your credential with anyone, or you should not share the root credential with anyone. You should always create a user, though that person is going to access to a AWS account for 10 minutes or 10 days. Either you can create a temporary credential for him, or you can create a complete user, and then you can terminate the user. There is a user expiration days we have seen just in the password policy. So based on that you can do this. So you should always create a IAM user for all the people. Next, manage permission with group, as it is the best practices that you can easily change the permission, you can easily revoke, or you can add policy easily anytime, and which will be applicable to all the users in the group. So it's easiest and the best practices to always follow the permissions, allow permission with groups. Third is grant list privileges. So for example, if there is a manager in your account, in your team, so that manager is not going to access to EC2 and check whether you have uploaded code or not, of course, right? So for such user, you should always grant the list permissions like just read only access or list buckets, list options. So what will happen? It will avoid some accidental deletion or accidental misconfiguration, so that that person while trying to do some stuff on the AWS will not able to download or terminate the machine, will not be able to stop or start the machine. It will just have read access. So what are the things going on, you, so that you can provide the list permission always. If any of your junior or the intern people who is going to access to your S3 services, so for such people you should only allow read only access. So depending upon the type of user role, you should provide the privileges. Then configure strong password.
Hey Lalit, are you recording this session?
Yes.
Because as in between sometimes it is breaking your voice, so maybe tomorrow when we are want to watch it, it will help us to understand the concept.
Yeah, it's recording. So the fourth one is configure strong password policy, as we have just seen the uppercase letter, the lowercase letter, etc. So this is one of the IAM best practice. Then you should always allow your users to have multi-factor authentication, that is two-step verification. So this applicable, so even if you are using a programmatic access using command line interface, it will ask you to prompt this code. So in the CLI, it will ask you to write down your code. So it's a two-step verification code. Then roles. You should not share your access key and secret key in your code to access the data between the AWS services. You should always use roles. Roles will authorize your AWS services to communicate with other AWS services. Like we have just created a role that EC2 should have full access to S3. Now we will see how that works. So providing the association between these AWS services should be done via roles. Then key rotation. So how frequently your access key, secret key should be rotated, or what you can see, the password policy, how long that you should keep it rotating. So those are key rotations. Then reduce or remove root access. So the first thing when we have started this IAM lab session, we have removed our root access, that is delete the root access key and secret key. So this is that. Guys,
Lalit, we are not able to see the presentation.
You are not able.
Yeah, now it's and now we are able to see.
There is some latency issue, that's why.
Yeah.
Can you able to see now completely?
Yep.
Okay, so the last one is reduce or remove root access. So the first thing that we have done in the IAM lab session is we have deleted our root access key, secret key. So it is one of the IAM best practices. So these are the 10 IAM best practices that you should always use it while designing your infrastructure, while having access to your organization AWS account. So that's all in the IAM chapter. Do you have any questions on this?
No.
Okay, fine. So we will now start our second chapter, that is EC2. So EC2 is today we will see the overview of EC2 and what it is, computing hours, what are the options do we have while configuring the EC2 server. So Amazon EC2 Compute Cloud, that is EC2, provides a scalable computing capacity in the Amazon Web Services cloud. Using Amazon EC2 eliminates your need to invest in hardware upfront, so you can develop your and deploy application faster. So basically, it's a computing service. So what is virtualization? We have application in our computer, virtual VMware, right? Have you used this software? Hello guys, can you hear me?
Yeah, it's a bit breaking, but yeah, now it's clear.
Yeah, there is a software. Have you used that VMware or VirtualBox?
Not used it personally, but yeah, I know what exactly it is.
So what exactly does?
So I use it.
Yeah, Praveen, what exactly
I
does?
use it regularly. Yeah, it will help us to create one virtual machine with all the hardware capabilities with CPU, RAM, hard disk,
Yeah.
and also you will have on ready user created with the required operating system like a Windows, Linux, whatever the version of Windows 2012 or 16,
Yeah.
something like that.
So similarly,
and
AWS
the
provides
machine
you
is
the same
ready
service.
available.
Yeah. So similarly, AWS provides the same service. So when you create a virtual machine on your host computer, which hardware it uses? It uses your host hardware, right? The actual configuration, actual hardware of your computer, right? Hello? Hello?
Yeah.
Yeah, can you hear me properly?
Yep.
Yeah. So
It's completely breaking, Lalit, today. Sometimes it is coming clear, sometimes it is breaking very much.
why it's happening? Is it clear now?
From some other guy. We are only 3 over this call, right? Or are we more than that?
There is one more person, Murthy.
Okay.
So is it clear now?
Yeah.
Yeah. So what basically Amazon does, the way in which we create a virtual machine on our host computer, that it uses our RAM, it uses our CPU. In the same way, we use Amazon CPU and we create a virtual machine on the cloud. So there is already a computer which is present on Amazon data center. Okay. And out of that configuration, we take a small part of it and we create a virtual machine in the cloud. So here we don't need to pay for the upfront. We don't need to buy a hardware and we don't need to take care of all the infrastructure. Amazon take care of all the infrastructure behind it, and we just pay for the part of an instance that we have used. Okay. So Amazon Machine Image, that is AMI. And Amazon Machine AMI provides the information required to launch an instance. You need to specify an AMI to launch an instance. So AMI is an operating system. Amazon Machine Image is a term defined by the Amazon, but actually it is an operating system. It is a package with which includes operating system and some few other applications. So for example, AMI, which will include a Red Hat operating system with PHP or Ruby installed, right? So this package can be termed as a AMI. There is another package called Windows Server 2016. So there are different kinds of AMIs available on the AWS services, and you can create your own AMI. So what is will be the benefit of creating your own AMI? You are able to hear me, right? Is it clear?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's clear now.
Yeah.
Yep.
So you can create your own AMI. So what will be the benefit of creating your own AMI? For example, today I have created a Amazon EC2 machine. Let's say with a configuration of Ubuntu server, which includes a Apache server with some of my data. Okay, and out of this configuration and everything including the data, I have created an AMI. AMI means we have created a snapshot of it. So next time when I want to replicate this instance, I can choose this AMI. So in this way, it will replicate the instance data, including the operating system, including that Apache server and the data inside my server. So in this way, you can create an Amazon machine image. Also, it will help you when your infrastructure is in auto scaling mode. So while your infrastructure in auto scaling mode, when it will create a new resources, it will create a new instance, it will pick any of this AMI and will deploy your code. So in this way, you can we will see how to create an AMI. But in short, AMI is a package which will contain operating system and with some other application services. So as here it is mentioned that a template for the root volume for the instance, launch permission that controls which AWS account can use the AMI to launch permission. So one important note also here, AMI is a regional. So basically, AMI, let's say with the configuration of Ubuntu and Apache server, is present in Mumbai region with the AMI ID ABCD. Okay, the same configuration, the same AMI will be present in North Virginia, but with different AMI ID. So AMI are regional specific. The reason behind it, the costing of the AMI, the data, the charges for the data volume and the charges for the buying the operating system are differ from the region. So that's why Amazon has separated and made AMIs are regionally.
But what exactly, like when we say we have a AMI consisting of Ubuntu and some Apache, right, and MySQL. So the overall package of Ubuntu plus MySQL plus XYZ package,
Yeah.
that overall would be kind of an image, right?
Yes.
So that image, is it like the cost of that particular image AWS is calculating on the basis
Yes.
of region?
Yes.
That
Yes. Yeah, based on
So
that.
you mean to say underlying hardware cost?
Yes, underlying hardware cost. So your EC2 will contain the charge for that Windows machine. If it is a Windows machine, then license of that Windows machine for that particular period of time. And if any of the servers, basically the servers which are free like Apache, Nginx, those are only included. Any paid subscription that you have to, if if there is any paid servers or if there is any paid services, that for those things there is a separate column where you can buy the subscription package.
Okay.
Yeah. So next is EC2 Instance Families. So there are different types of instance families are present. Some are for general purpose, some are compute optimized, then memory optimized, accelerated computing, and storage optimized. So each instance family is designed for a specific purpose. So general purpose is like you have a mixed combination of storage plus CPU plus RAM. It's a general mixed combination of all the services. Second, compute optimized, which will help you, which contains more CPU power. It is specifically designed for high CPU rate, input output rate, etc. So for example, for the big data purpose, you need more input output based configuration or CPU. Then at that time you can use this compute optimize. Then the third one is memory optimize, where it provides you more memory option, so that what will happen, the size of the storage will be less. So for example, instance family with 4 GB RAM and storage will be like 1 GB, 1 GB of ROM and 4 GB of RAM, so which will provide you a memory optimized technique. Fourth one is accelerated computing, which will give you a GPU. It is best suited for gaming and high performance uh, instances. And the fourth one is storage optimized, which offers you a high storage volumes. So these are different kinds of instance family, and in each family there are different types of instances available. So there are subtypes of instances available in each of this category. These are the 5 categories, and inside these 5 categories there are different still instances available with different configuration, with 2 GB, 4 GB ROM, 8 GB, 64 GB ROM, kind of. We'll see that during the lab session. Then the pricing model.
So with a free tier, can we create that kind of things, Lalit? With a free tier account, can we able to create 6 GB, 64 GB kind of instances?
Yeah. So in the free tier, you get a T2 micro, which will contain 1 CPU and 1 GB RAM. Okay, which
Correct.
is free for the entire year, 1 year, right? Apart from that, if you choose any other instance, you can do that. You can select any of the instances, but it will charge you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
So one important note here when we talk about the charges, when you create a new account, you have a three you can way off your billing 3 times. If you have reached your like $100 or 100 INR, then you can just simply call to AWS support and tell them that you are a learner, and they will waive off your money for the for the first 3 months only.
Okay.
Okay, so if you want to still try the high GPU, high instance families, then still you can do that. But you should always do at the end of the month, so that you will use the entire month and they will pay off the entire amount in a single shot. Okay.
Okay. Good.
So next is EC2 pricing models. So there are 5 types of pricing models available. On demand, that is per second billing. So if you have consumed a resource for 30 seconds or 100 seconds, then it will charge you accordingly. Then we have reserved instances. So reserved instances is when you know that you will be required this particular instance for next 1 year or 3 year. There is only two condition. Either you can reserve an instance for a 1 year or 3 year, not 2 year or 5 year. There is only two way to reserve an instance: 1 year and 3 year. So when you reserve an instance, Amazon will give you a discount. It's basically 50 to 70% discount on it. So in this way you can save the cost. Third is spot instance. Spot instance is when, for example, AWS has some free instances available, like not 100% consumption is made on AWS side, and there is some free resources available. And so if you want to use that free resources, that free instance, then you can choose a spot instance. Here you need to bid for a particular instance. So if, for example, if I want to bid a particular instance for a $1, so until the price of that instance is under $1, it will give me service. And once it reaches to the $1, it will throw us a message that the bidding price is exceeding your budget. So do you want to continue, or do you want to stop that instance? You have 2 minutes to take a backup of your instance, otherwise you will lose your data. So Amazon gives you 2 minutes to either take a backup or change your bidding price. So here it gives around 70 to 90% discount on it. But spot instances is not good for daily workloads. If you are running a website, it is not good for you. If you are trying some big data projects or a data or any server which is it's not important for you, you are doing for the test purpose only, then for such cases you should use spot instances. Third one is dedicated instance. You call for dedicated instance, you have to call Amazon, you have to take a support from them, and they will dedicate a particular instances for you. You can use it anytime. These are like a private instance. So Amazon will take a separate shelf for you and will dedicate a particular instances for you. And similarly, dedicated host. So what happens in a difference between dedicated instance and dedicated host is there is a private shelf and there is a public shelf on AWS data centers. So dedicated instance will be collected from that particular private shelf, and dedicated host is like you will own your private shelf in Amazon data centers. So whatever the resources you are consuming, EC2, S3, you will have a private, infrastructure on AWS. So these dedicated instance and dedicated hosts are highly chargeable. So if you know that you are running any government organization, or you are running a very high private data, you are having a customer data which is having a high priority, you don't want to share it over public cloud, then these are the two options that from where you can keep your data secure, and you can leverage AWS cloud service.
So Lalit, like what's the difference between reserved and dedicated? Like in reserve, we are reserving a particular instance for maybe 1 year or 3 year, right? And whereas dedicated also doing the same thing, isn't it?
For the reserve, we are reserving for 1 or 3 year, but here you are not reserving for a particular month or particular year.
Okay, but underlying the requirement is same. It is like
Yeah, the second difference is the second difference is the dedicated instances are the private one, and the reserved are the still public. They are still in reserved with, though it is reserved, but still it will be in the public. So for example, if you are not today using any reserved instance, so that resource will be allocated to some other account.
Okay. When you say public or private, is it like we are talking about like VPC, like
No.
kind of a thing?
This
Like
is not at the VPC level. So basically,
this is at the
though we are using our own, though we are using AWS cloud, but it is not a private cloud. It is a public cloud, right?
okay.
So as I mentioned earlier, that this is completely on virtualization technique. Like
Mhm.
in VMware or VirtualBox, there is a computer, our computer, and we create multiple VM machines. One EC2, one Ubuntu, one Windows Server, right? But the storage and the RAM and the computer's CPU utilization are the same. They both of these image will consume the same hardware utilization, right? In the same way, whenever we create an instance and whenever we use a AWS data storage, still we are using a common storage which is present on AWS data centers. It is, but AWS guarantees you that your data will be completely isolated. It will not happen that a processor from your instance will work here, and then second it will work for another AWS account. It guarantees that your data is completely isolated from one account to AWS another account, but still the host computer behind all these instances, that is at AWS side, will be the common one.
Mhm.
Did you get now?
Yeah, got it.
Yeah. So similarly, as our this VirtualBox and VMware, how it works, they consume the same computational power, they use the same RAM and storage. In the same way, we use the same AWS resources. So that are completely public one. That is not a private. But Amazon guarantees that your data is completely isolated. So next is user data. That is shell script and PowerShell script. PowerShell. Sorry. So AWS provide AMIs include services that access and execute the contents of the user data attribute in EC2 instance metadata. So this is a metadata. So for example, if you want to install a machine, if you want to configure a machine with a pre-installed Apache server, MySQL server, and you want to update all these OS updates before it launches the application, so that you can do using a shell script. So for example, I will write a code for the Linux that to update my machine, to install Apache server, to start the Apache server, and to create a index.html file in my public folder. I will write a script in it, and I will upload that script while creating EC2 machine. So what will happen while configuring the EC2 machine? It will update the machine, it will install the Apache server, it will start the Apache server, and it will create an index.html file. So it's like pre-configuration of your EC2 machine. So what are the services that you want to install that you can pre-configure here using the user data? Is it clear?
Okay. Yep.
Yeah. So we will see how this do. This is called bootstrapping, and it is one of the most important part of EC2. It is many questions are asked on this user data.
Okay.
Second is EC2 IAM roles. So if you remember now that we have created a role that EC2 should have full access to S3, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So what does it means to you? What exactly does? What are the benefit of creating IAM role and providing access from EC2 to have a full access of S3? What do you think?
Basically, but we are allowing one AWS resource to access the other resource.
Right.
So that authorization and is governed to creating roles.
Yeah. So basically, for example, if you want to use Git, so what you do, you basically create a access key and secret key for your organization, and you put that access key and secret key in your code. So what will happen whenever your server runs it, whenever your code runs, it will call the Git, it will call the repo using those access key and secret key. It will get access to GitHub, and then it will pull all the data from Git. Right? This is how the things work. Right?
Yep.
Yeah. So providing this access key and secret keys is not a good practice. If your code gets encrypted or decrypted, and any hacker get access to this secret key and access key, then they can access to your data. Now here we are talking about Git. There will be a condition, there will be a time scenario where SkyDrive or OneDrive you are using, and your user or the hacker get access to those data. So this is not a good practice. So what replaces this option is with IAM roles. So IAM role plays a bridge between your services. So if you want to access S3 or any DynamoDB to RDS or anything, you can use the IAM role. It provides a better future, and it provides a bridge to access the different AWS services. So now when you design your code to put into EC2, you don't need to write access key and secret key. You have to just call the API of that particular resource. Okay. Next, EC2 Instance Family. Sorry.
So you would be showing this in one of the demos, right?
Right.
Whenever it happens.
Yeah. I will show it right now only.
Okay.
So how to create an instance? So first of all, we choose an AMI, that is the operating system. Then we'll send a launch request. It goes under pending state, and then after all the configuration, if you have passed any user data or without user data, it will configure your machine, and then it will go under running state. So once it is running state, you have three options. Either you can reboot your machine, you can terminate your machine, or you can stop your machine. If you reboot your machine gets rebooted and come back again to the running state. If you terminate this machine, it will go under shutting down state, and then it will get terminated. If you stop the machine, it will be under stop state. And once it is in the stop state, you still have two options: either terminate this machine or start the machine. So one important note here, AWS EC2 support two types of storage. One is instance backed storage and one is EBS backed storage. There are two storage options: EBS backed storage, that is elastic block storage, and the second one is instance backed storage. So difference between these two storage are, instance backed storage is a non-persistent data storage, which means whenever you stop the machine, the data residing inside your volume will also be get lost. So next time when you reboot your machine,
when you stop or when you terminate,
when you stop that machine,
you mean to say, like, let's say EC2 instance is up, and when we stop it, so the underlying data will be gone.
Yeah. So it's called non-persistent data storage. It's a temporary data storage.
Okay.
And the second one is EBS backup storage, which is like a volume device. So when you are using a EBS backup volume storage, so even if you stop the machine, you will still get your data once you restart your machine. Okay. Also, you have an option to to remove that volume, to detach that volume from EC2, that particular instance, and then terminate the machine. So what will happen next time, if you want to that volume you can still use for the next instance. So for example, I have a EC2 instance running with EBS backed volume, and I have inserted certain data as let's call a file, 1 GB file. Okay. So now this EBS volume will contain my root volume, root device, root configuration, and 1 GB of data. Now what I can do, I can detach this volume from EC2, okay, and then terminate this machine. And while creating a new EC2 machine, I can select this EC2 again, which will contain all this data again. So in this way, you can persist your data even your machine gets terminated. You can take a backup of this machine, or you can take a backup of this data also. So there are two types of data volumes available, that is EBS backed volume instance, and second is the instance backed storage system. Is that clear?
Yeah. Okay, but this one EFS is separate, Elastic File System.
That is the file system, network file system. That is completely different.
Okay.
Like NFS is EFS is like a network file system, which is like FTP server. You can get a complete list of the file in your EC2 machine. Using EFS, you cannot boot your machine. It's a file system, not a block storage, right? So for routing for booting up your EC2 machine, there is only one type of storage available, that is EBS. Apart from that, S3, Glacier, or Snowball, you cannot use for booting your EC2 machine. Okay. So this is all about EC2, and now I will show you a demo like how that this works. EC2 IAM role. So let's go to EC2.
Okay. Like the EC2 and S3 or something like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So here I am.
Is it the one which we were trying yesterday, the S3 bucket, listing of that bucket?
Yeah, I will do the same. So I have one instance ready. I will just click and start the machine. So if you can see here, I have this machine is stopped, and if I go to volumes, I have this 8 GB of volume. So this volume, I can create a snapshot of it. I can detach this volume. So once I detach this volume, I can easily terminate that EC2 machine, and my data still will persist, right? So this is EBS backed volume system. So I will just click on start, and here you can see there is no IAM role attached. So I will just create one IAM role. Let's call EC2 to have full access of S3. S3 full access.
So this particularly role creation will be very much handy during the time of cloud formation stuff, right?
No, at that time it will be a little difficult, because you have to write all the statements and the policies.
Yeah, I'm talking like whenever we are creating a pipeline, like let's say Jenkins as the pipeline or code pipeline or something else. So wherever we are trying to automate the overall
pipeline, absolutely. At that time, it will be very helpful. You don't have to provide the access key and secret key. You can just create a simply role and attach to between two resources.
Right.
So I will just create a role. S3 read access to EC2. Also, actually, it's a full access. So my instance is ready.
Actually, when you're sharing now, we are not like the control is not following in that level.
Yeah, like there will be latency. So once you see the terminal, let me know.
Yeah, we can see the terminal.
Same
No,
Shipal?
I'm not.
Okay, I'll just
No, not yet.
okay. I think there is also any network disturbance at your side too.
Yeah. Is there any like, I'm not sure, like, can't we fix this like once and all? Like, I know that it is a latency issue at my end or at your end or at Praveen's end, but it really, like distract a lot because
The
yeah,
other way
now
is
I'm able
Skype
to.
calling. I don't see other any option. But if
Skype
it is a
calling. Maybe
network
one day we,
latency, then we can't do anything.
yeah, because Skype also will use the internet only, right?
Yeah, it's totally depend on internet.
Okay, I'm able to see now.
Okay, so I will just log into my system. We will see how to do it again.
But the best part is that at least we have the recording on, so we can refer
Yeah,
later.
yeah. So I have logged into my instance. As you can see here, Amazon Linux 2 AMI. You can see, right?
No.
Okay, I'll just wait for a second.
I can see that.
Now I can see that, yeah.
Okay, so I will just now request to S3 to list all my buckets. AWS S3 LS. So this is a command line interface, CLI, AWS CLI. So if I just hit the enter, you can see here unable to load credential. You can configure credential by using AWS configure. So now I will go to action and instance rating and will attach IAM rule. So those that we have just created S3 read access. Click on apply. So if I just recall that command, it has dumped all the buckets available in my S3. So in this way you can interact between your AWS services. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I will just now remove this for once and see what happens. So as soon as I remove that, it again throws me the same message. The credential, you need a credential to access S3 service. So in this way you can access the services, AWS services between without sharing the access key and secret key.
Hello? Your voice is breaking, Lalit.
Yeah, I was saying without this access key and secret key, this is how you can access to the different AWS services using IAM role.
Okay.
Okay, so tomorrow we will see how to perform EC2. Tomorrow we will see the lab sessions on EC2, how to create an instance. There are different types of instance, that is Linux and Windows. Then we will see how to create a AMI, then we will see elastic IP. There is another feature of EC2, that is elastic IP. We'll see that. And day after tomorrow we will see load balancer and auto scaling. Okay.
And what time tomorrow?
At the same time, we'll keep our time same, 8 p.m.
Okay, sure.
Sure.
Okay.
Okay, guys. If you have any question, then do let me know. You can throw me any message, anytime message.
Okay.
Sure.
Lalit, like this video you would be sharing later tonight, right?
Yeah, it will be a little late because I have two batch yet, and after post that I will share this video.
Okay. And secondly, yesterday you were talking about that WhatsApp group, in which we can post the queries and whatever the stuff.
So once the batch is fixed now, then I will create a WhatsApp group. Basically, Praveen and his friends will have their separate batch. They want their separate batch. There are multiple people. So probably according to that, once the batch is final, I will create a group.
No, so this batch is like within like V34, or is it like some other
Yeah, some
you
other
have a
files are
community of?
about to join.
No,
So
I'm saying ki, do you have any in general some AWS related WhatsApp group in which anyone can post, and it's not
no, no,
about this
no. It's
batch.
not like that. It's for batch wise.
Okay, it's a batch wise. Okay. And can we access these slides which you have?
I will try to share.
Okay. I only need read only. I don't want to modify anything, but if you can place it.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Looks like your other batches people are waiting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay
Go
then.
ahead.
See you tomorrow.
All right.
So till then,
Bye.
if you have any question, then do let me know.
Okay,
Sure.
sir.
Yeah.
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 See you. Bye.
Thanks.
Hello, hi Anjana. Can you hear me?
There is one host in this conference.